I think Steppingstone is an extraordinary organization. It's an organization that has a real culture, a culture that is built on teamwork and commitment.
Steppingstone has a high standards, high touch approach to preparing young kids to be the first in their families to go to college.
A program like Steppingstone makes it possible for so many kids to do things that they would never have even thought about doing before. It opens up a new world to them.
I met Mike when he was 15, and we were both sophomores at the collegiate school here in Manhattan. He was always the person with the magic trick, with the card trick. He was always the person laughing and smiling and making others around him laugh and smile.
He was a good kid always, and he said he wanted to teach, and his desire was to be a teacher.
So when Michael was at the Harvard School of Education and he started to think about what to do afterwards, what to do next, he and I started to talk about doing something together, and something in inner city education, and maybe something new and something fresh, and creating a nonprofit.
I think I met Mike Danzica and John Simon in 1990. They had this vision for a new program. It was unformed and they were in the exploratory stage. But to be honest with you, I thought they were two privileged kids who had this vision and didn't have a clue about how to go about it. It was my greatest underestimation of people in my career because they went on to do just great things. But when I first met them, I thought they were dreamers.
We were so excited, but yet so humbled, and then kind of committed to really improving and going to the next level and really making this happen.
I believe in the power of education, and I think that the crisis in education in our society literally challenges our society.
When Mike and I talked about Steppingstone for the very first time, he said, "Luis, we have a terrible problem here in Boston. Imagine a world where the best and the brightest don't go to college. We need to do something about that. That these very kids suffer from lack of educational opportunity, and that he was going to devote himself to that, try to make a difference in that way, was astonishing to me, heroic."
What made the program a success, I think, was his leadership, but in his leadership was also his innovation.
Belmont Hill, like other independent schools and the exam schools in Boston, are the lucky beneficiaries of Steppingstone's work. We get to see wonderful boys here at Belmont Hill, but boys and girls come through this program who are bright, talented, eager, and because of Steppingstone are better prepared to attend our schools than they ever would be otherwise. We are a much better school because of the Steppingstone scholars we've had.
Mike invited me to come to a class.
What I would like to tell you right now is that it is...
They were teaching one of my favorite books, To Kill a Mockingbird. So I was just totally hooked. And I saw these kids, it was 80 degrees, it was sunny, they could have been outside playing, and they're discussing To Kill a Mockingbird.
Well, he's really tall, but he can fit in a small car. I can't believe that. And he's like Superman.
For somebody who, if you just look at the way he dresses, which is unique, he can walk into a room and it can disarm people. But then when he starts talking and the passion, it's a huge contradiction because what he does, he takes incredibly seriously, but he also has a great way of laughing at himself and saying, you know, everything isn't or doesn't need to be that serious.
Pulling cards out of his hat and doing magic tricks.
He was like our second dad that dressed really poorly.
A great storyteller.
Too tall.
Good looking. No, wait, that's Betsy.
We can't do any celebration of Mike without celebrating and thanking Betsy.
I thought it was really an exciting thing to do. However, we were in the middle of a graduate school program, so I wasn't sure how he was going to manage both finishing grad school and getting a program like that up and running. Because everybody told him and John that there's just no way this was going to happen. Who were these two guys that were going to come in and change the world, and they didn't listen to that.
Typical of Michael, he got everybody enthused.
Well, I certainly don't think he had any idea what he was getting himself into. He was doing everything from teaching the classes to driving the kids around to getting them lunch and everything. And I remember while he thought it would take him about an hour to pick up all the kids, I think it took him about 3.
Mike is an amazing guy when it comes to thinking about the impossible.
and he pursues, like no one I know, goals and objectives that are bodacious and seem impossible.
He genuinely, truly believes in the potential of every single kid, and he believes that any kids can succeed if just given the right opportunity.
I think that's very important. I think that's meaningful when the head of the program will come and sit down and get to speak with students individually and as a group. I think that's very important, and he does it on a weekly basis.
So in our first class, we admitted 14 scholars at the class of 1991, and we were just in Boston. Now in Boston, we are serving 1,000 kids in grades 5 through 12. We also have affiliate programs in Hartford and Philadelphia. We have launched a national association serving college access programs that's in 30 states, collectively serving 30,000 students. And we're about to launch a new program in Boston that we hope will have a much larger impact.
Just thinking about that first class, the pioneering aspect of it, and getting to know those kids so well, and then seeing those kids succeed.
Well, he was so invested in every single one of those kids, especially in the first class. They became like our children.
I mean, literally, he was at my 13th birthday party.
One of them lived with us off and on.
You know, it's not a funny story, it's just an amazing story. He took me in, you know, newly married, and I was troubled. I had an attitude. It was like Blindside without the football contract.
He's somebody who wants to be there when things are difficult. And my experience is when things are at their most difficult, that's when Mike really rises to the occasion.
Whether it was our family or any other family, I feel like it was always the same. He was always someone who was ready to invest everything that he had into the scholars in the program because he truly believed in them. He would be so open and so willing to invite us into his life and invest his time and his life into us.
Without Steppingstone, I don't think I would be around. I don't think I would be doing the things I'm doing now. I wouldn't be teaching. Mr. Danziger and Steppingstone basically saved my life. He was in my life so completely. He took me in when I didn't have any place to go. And when I say things like, just to be more specific, when I say things like he saved my life, like I literally mean like all of my friends and all of the people in my family around my age are dead or in jail or dying or on parole or have been shot. And that's all of them, not 99%, that's all of them except for me.
Steppingstone rocks! Yeah, the kids in the future, I would tell them to keep on going, and you get stressful sometimes with all the work and all the homework.
A lot of homework. But the homework turns out to help you because I didn't know a lot of things that we was gonna learn in 6th grade, so we're gonna be ahead in class.
But just keep going because you can really do this and you're gonna go to college eventually.
Yes.
If you put your mind to it.
It's a great opportunity in your lifetime that you don't get often.
My dream, and I know it's Mike's dream, is that every major city in America have something like Steppingstone.
It's been a joy for me because I've seen the program go from inception and just a blurry vision initially of what this program could do to execution and expansion in other cities.
One of the things that is truly remarkable about Steppingstone and Mike and the entire team is the way they think not just about the past 20 years, but the next 20 years.
All of those instances have really illustrated what the mission means and why we need to keep driving forward in terms of developing new programs and strengthening the current program.
What I'm most proud about is that we've really accomplished our goal of college success.
So over the next 20 years, I would wish for Steppingstone and for everybody involved with it as much growth and as much success as we've had in the first 20 years, but really taking that to a new dimension.
The passion, I think, needs to continue to be there. I think it hasn't changed at all since I've been here, and I think that's awesome.
I think we're in our infancy.
Ideally, in 20 years, you wouldn't need a stepping stone, but realistically, I think it'd be great if the first wave of Stepping Stone scholars were the board of directors and the leaders of Stepping Stone in 20 years.
20 years is a long run in some sense, but in some sense it's also just a beginning.
Here's a man who had the opportunity to do anything with his life or perhaps do nothing at all. And for 20 years, Mike has sustained a vision of what he thinks he could do to help kids in the city of Boston.
So I'm terribly proud to have him as my grandson. Stepping Stone has been a very important part of his life. He has done a wonderful job with it, You all know how successful it is and how good he is with it.
And I would say, as far as being Michael's parent, I am very proud of what he has done with Steppingstone.